December 7th, 1941, a date which will live in infamy. Good morning. My name is Matthew, and I'm here today to talk to you about the bombing of Pearl Harbor and the fallout from the attack. First, I will talk about the bombing of Pearl Harbor, specifically the reasons that led up to the attack and the damage caused from the attack. Then I will talk about the fallout from the bombing, specifically the President's reaction and how the United States entered and ended World War II. Now that you know what I will be going over today, let's jump right in and talk about the bombing of Pearl Harbor. The bombing of Pearl Harbor was a surprise, but to many, some believed that both countries, the United States and Japan, were headed for war. They believed this because Japan declared war on China in 1937. Because of this action, the United States placed economic sanctions and trade embargoes on Japan. This only made Japan stand their ground. But while all this was going on, the United States and Japan were in talks of negotiations and peace. Because of that, nobody believed the United States would be bombed. But on December 7th, 1941, about 8 a.m., Japan took to the skies and attacked Pearl Harbor for almost 2 hours. The Japanese plan was simple: destroy the Pacific Fleet. Hundreds of Japanese fighter planes took to the skies and took part of the attack, destroying almost 20 American naval vessels and almost 200 planes. More than 2,000 soldiers and sailors lost their lives in the attack, and more than 1,000 more were wounded, according to History.com. Now that you know about the bombing of Pearl Harbor, let's talk about the fallout from the attack. After the attack, President Roosevelt delivered his famous December 7, 1941 speech. In this speech, he asked Congress to declare war on Japan. The next day, December 8th, Congress approved the President's declaration and declared war on Japan. 3 days later, Japan's allies, Italy and Germany, declared war on the United States. Congress did the same thing, declared war on Italy and Germany. It may have taken more than 2 years, but the United States was finally in World War II. After years of war, World War II was almost over. Italy and Germany had surrendered. The fight now was in the Pacific. Fighting in the Pacific came with heavy casualties, and because of this, President Truman authorized the use of atomic weapons. He authorized the use to bomb Japanese cities Hiroshima and Nagasaki. This is the first time in history that atomic weaponry is used. The first city to be bombed was Hiroshima. A B-29 bomber, the Enola Gay, dropped a uranium bomb called Little Boy, killing 80,000 people immediately, and thousands more died weeks later because of radiation poisoning. 3 days later, another B-29 bomber, Bockscar, dropped a plutonium bomb, Fat Man, on the Japanese city Nagasaki, killing 40,000 more people, according to History1900s.about.com. Japan formally surrendered on September 2nd, 1945. World War II was finally over. Now that you know about the fallout from the attack, let's go over what I briefed today. During the brief, I went over the bombing of Pearl Harbor. I talked about the reasons that led up to the attack and the damage caused by the attack. Then I talked about the fallout from the bombing. I talked about the President's reaction and how the United States entered and ended World War II. I hope after this brief you are more informed on the bombing and the fallout of Pearl Harbor. It may have taken more than 2 years for the United States to join World War II, but on December 7, 1941, that all changed. If you have any questions or comments, I'll be happy to answer them. Thank you.